Hey you guys, welcome back to MCJ's Art Studio. Happy that you tuned in for another episode. Before I start with the next topics, let me ask you to hit that subscription button. You're already here, you already saw a couple of videos, so why not subscribe to the channel? This week has been very interesting. I've already been tugging, going back and forth with the most recent painting that I'm working on, which is this big one here behind me. I Am Still King #2. The thing that started to be very visible for me is that I was not really happy with the way I was progressing in the painting process. During a painting process, you got the beginning, you got the middle, you got the end. I kind of feel where I am in a certain stage, whether I'm approaching the end or I'm still a little bit between the middle and the beginning part. For every painter or artist, that is of course different. So for me, I can organically, intuitively already know where I'm standing in my process. But in this particular case, I absolutely was not liking where it was going to. I was already going towards the end of the painting and making sure that I now clean everything up and make sure that the painting is really popping, the colors are popping, and making it all come together. And it was exactly when I was nearing the end that I was just not feeling it. Certain elements were not working right with me. Body parts were maybe just a little bit more off than I wanted to. Colors were really not coming out the way I wanted. And the overall picture in my eyes, to my own satisfaction and my own judgment, was not coming out the way I wanted to. Just not at all. People will be like, okay, can there be certain elements, certain parts of the painting that I can rearrange or maybe just improve, or just make sure that I don't have to start completely over? I decided to start over. I took my paint and did this. Okay, y'all, so yeah. I don't even know how to start with this, but I have decided to start my second painting from the series I Am Still King over. Yeah, I came to the conclusion yesterday that I was stuck and I needed to start fresh. And I know myself pretty well. I will not back down from the decision. I will not go back and forth. And what it means is that I will throw a lot of paint over the layer that already has been established, and I will start over. And if you think that I'm joking, I am not joking. Like, no. Yeah. Like I already said, I just noticed that I was in a place where I was just going back and forth and I was stuck. And I basically just saw how much I was making it more difficult for me to move on instead of making it easier on myself. And in that particular moment, for me, the best thing is just to start over with a clean slate. Now, why am I using a darker underground? I don't know. I don't know. What I've learned from the past is that when I use a darker underground to do the new layer on that, the new painting on that, it just works better for me. I had the same situation, a similar situation with Transition. And with that painting, I also started over. And I also used this particular color to start over, which eventually became the background color for that. Now in this case, that is not going to be the background color, but I noticed that it was a really good color to start my painting over it. So it is I don't know, it's just something that I've discovered concerning my own painting technique and style. I'm not regretting it. Actually, as I am doing this, I feel amazingly good because it lifts a weight from my shoulders. It lifts away from my shoulders as to trying to figure out whether I am still on track. And now I'm just giving myself the opportunity to start over. Now, is it the most fun thing to do? No. But is it the best thing to do right now? Yes. I guarantee you that. I'm gonna have it finished this week. And it's Thursday, so that means Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna be making some long ass hours. And no, nobody is forcing me to do this. I am also not forcing myself to do this, but this is my profession. So I do take it seriously, and I do want to put myself on a schedule and make sure that I put in the work. So in the meantime, as that one is drying, I'm gonna be playing around with this new canvas that I also want to add to my store. I have to add new canvases to my store anyway. So this is a good opportunity to do that. This is a linen canvas, which is something that I also just love working on. It is a different fabric than cotton. I prefer linen, but I can also take cotton. It will not make my work worse. I can do both and do what favors you and what fits in your own budget to do. So by all means, do not exactly follow the footsteps that I am placing on my path. So yeah, enough talk, back to work. And a lot of people will be looking at the painting and be like, what did you do? Why did you start over? Why did you think it was necessary for you to put the brush and just wipe away everything that you have created so far? That's just a waste of time and effort. And I'm going to be actually honest with you. It was a little bit. It was. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. For me, it just did not suffice to the stamp of approval that I put on my work. And there can be a lot of factors that subconsciously can have an effect on the way that you are working through your process. You know, there can be things that may be happening personally, maybe in your family life, but also, are you present? Are you rushing your work? Are you being a perfectionist? All those factors and many others can of course have their influence. But for me, I can definitely say that I was just stuck. It takes some time to also just embrace it. Just to embrace that it is okay to be in a place where you are stuck. I do believe that if I would have made a picture of it and showed it to other people that are artistically inclined and have the eye for it, they probably would have said, well, if you maybe change this or tweak that, you know, it would be perfectly fine. But for me, knowing where I want to be and also knowing how I now progressed in the way that I look at things and how I work and my technique, I needed to start over. And it felt amazing. Just amazing, amazing. I cannot describe to you how good it feels when you create something and you know it's not what it is, what it should be, and you just take a splash of paint and you just throw it over it. Start over. Start over. Just do it. And that is also the advice that I want to give to you. It's not the advice. I would say it is a drastic measure that you could take. Now listen. There is, of course, a huge risk to it when you are commissioned for a particular work and there is a deadline to it, right? For me, I already had a deadline for this, but I moved it so far into the future. Moved it so far into the future that, you know, I had the space to do it. Let's be honest, I had the space to do it. But if this was a deadline and I came to the conclusion that I had to, you know, start over at the end, I don't know if I would have made a decision. I probably would have made that decision anyway. I would have seen it as an option. But the consequence of it is, of course, that I have to work 24/7. I have to work day and night, night and day, and then night and day again. And that, of course, can be a process. Not everybody can be comfortable with making that decision. But I've learned for myself to, you know, rip the Band-Aid off. Okay? Rip it off. Don't be so gentle. Just rip it off. And we're done with it. And I came quicker to the result of what I wanted. So for me, the payoff was huge. And it also comes with self-knowledge. You need to know yourself pretty well, right? I mean, you've been living with yourself for the last couple of decennia, so let's hope that you know yourself pretty well. I know for me, it is just such a more easy way of working, and also allowing myself to grasp and get a hold of a situation much faster. I cannot get a grasp of external factors all the time. Certain things are just out of my hands, and how they affect me, sometimes I don't have an effect on that as well. But when it comes to the creative process, I can get a hold of that a lot faster, keeping the end goal in mind, and that is just creating a beautiful painting that's according to the standard that I consider to be valuable and applicable for MCJ Studio. Holding that into account makes everything easier. Okay, well, that's it. That's all that I have to give and share with you all. I hope that you enjoyed the video. You made it this far. Kudos to you. That means that you are ready to subscribe to this channel. Hit the subscription button and also hit the notification bell. Then you're always updated to any new videos that I'm producing here on this platform. It's time for me to say goodbye. I will see you next week with some new content, and take care. Bye, you guys.